It's funny. In the aftermath of the cancellation of the Acolyte, we got told by so many people in the media, so many people that were associated with Lucasfilm, actors in this, that it had nothing to do with viewership. Like, that's not why the Acolyte got canceled. It was just because those toxic fans out there, those racist bastards, that's who Disney bent the knee to. This super successful show was actually canceled just from a handful of fans that didn't want it, and they bent the knee. Well, of course, that's not reality. We saw the ratings for ourselves. We know that was the biggest disaster in the history of Disney Star Wars in terms of streaming series based on the amount of money they spent on this thing. And even Alan Bergman came out and had to admit that. He's like, yeah, just the viewership didn't line up to the amount of money we were spending on it, so it didn't make sense to continue. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Jeremy,
a big breaking news right there. I mean, it's shocking. If only some bunch of toxic YouTubers would have been talking about this for the months leading into the Acolyte, but no, we were dismissed as racist and sexist. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, and now we're realizing what a bullet we dodged. Or I guess you could say this is a big missed opportunity to make more videos about it. But we're finding out more about what the plans for the Acolyte were. We knew, of course, they wanted a second season. They left on that cliffhanger, that ridiculous shit. But apparently, according to one of the stars, they'd planned for 3 seasons and a movie that Leslie Headland, this would have been $1 billion, if not more, invested into the Acolyte. My God,
does this not put Disney Star Wars into perspective? The thing that no fans wanted, they made a roadmap and a plan for. Yet the fucking sequel trilogy, the thing that every fan wanted and dreamed of for 30 fucking years, they didn't make a plan for it. They're like, we'll just figure it out as we go. Nothing says Disney Star Wars more than this story right here. Holy shit. Oh, you got a bunch of gay people in it? Oh, yeah, we're going to make a roadmap, and we're going to have 3 seasons. We're going to have a movie. We're going to have space witch lesbian scenes. All the fans are going to love this. Oh, you guys wanted Han, Luke, and Leia? Nah, we don't have a plan. Who cares about all that, right? Good Lord.
The craziest part about it is that it actually got canceled. That is the most outrageous thing that happened in 2024, is that not that they had this failure, but that they actually said no more. We're good. We don't need any more of this. This series was canceled after a single season, but one of its stars let slip. Headland had ambitious plans for her creation that included 3 whole seasons and a movie. Recently, Manny Jacinto, known for his role as Chimere, who you love, Jeremy.
I thought he was the best part of the show. He was the best part of the show. And I've always been a big fan of the Asians, so.
Yeah. Shed light on Headland's original vision for the show during a panel at Fan Expo. I remember Leslie's dream was for us to do 3 seasons, not just 1, Jacinto said. But there's something about having a finite ending that makes it so much more special. So yeah, I don't know if I do it or not, but 3 seasons and a movie would have been incredible. And I know we had so much to explore with that second season. And he kind of talked about they obviously had plans for Plagueis, things like that. That was definitely going to be more Plagueis in the second, or if not, the 3rd seasons of the show. But I just can't say because, we could come back. I don't want to spoil anything or give anybody false hope, but I would just say there was a lot more to explore for sure.
Nobody wanted this shit. Nobody cared. But the best part of this is what you said, though. The fact is it got canceled. The fact that it got canceled, knowing how much the people at Lucasfilm were behind this project, they were behind this 100%. They wanted this. Leslie Headland had all the support in the world from Kathleen Kennedy. And the fact that they were still put in the position where they had to cancel this just shows that it was even a worse disaster than probably we even reported on. It had to be catastrophic for them to cancel this. It had to be unbelievably bad. They had to have lost so much money. And their internal information must have been horrible.
I honestly think that if it had just come out and got the ratings it did or whatever, I still think they might have gone ahead with it. They might have done a second season, whatever. I think a lot of it had to do with how antagonistic all of the stars and everything were towards the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I think that had a lot to do with it. And you even heard, I don't know if it was that Hollywood Reporter article that talked to somebody at Lucasfilm that, when Amandla Stenberg came out with that diss track and everything, that made it very easy for them to just go ahead and say, okay, we're done with this. Because it was ridiculous. And you had attacks on fans the entire way through, from Leslie Headland's wife, from Amanda Stenberg, from what is Jodie Turner-Smith, whatever. You had all of this shit that we've seen time and time again at Lucasfilm, but I think the patience for that is worn so thin, and the reaction from the fan base was so vitriolic in terms of everyone despised it. Everyone despised the Acolyte that actually gave it a chance and watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And that might have played a big role in them deciding not to move forward with it, because we know they've done things that aren't necessarily successful and done it again. But I think that played a big role in this.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but have they done things that weren't successful to this level? Has anything been this bad of a failure at Lucasfilm? That's my question. Like, this is bad.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
really. I mean, again, because this cost about what 2.5 times what a average season of Mandalorian costs.
Yeah. And this was like more expensive. Wasn't this more expensive than Kenobi?
Well, yeah. So a lot of that has to do with how they're filmed. So Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, they're all filmed in the volume, which it allows them to keep costs down a lot. Which is why all those things are in like the $90 million, $100 million range, because of how they're shot, because you don't have to be on location doing all of these things. You don't have to build so much stuff. You just sit there behind the wall. You build some of it, and then you got that huge wall that shows you things. But this and Andor as well costs a lot of fucking money. Reports came out about that maybe $290 million into Andor season 2, which seems like a lot of fucking money. A lot of fucking money for Andor, which, although was, acclaimed in terms of when people look at it, they think that's probably the best thing they've done. It's not like it was setting the ratings on fire. Certainly picked up towards the end, and over time, a lot more people watched it. But that's a lot of money to sink into season 2 of Andor.
Yeah, and we've talked about Andor a lot, and I just think Andor is exactly what Star Wars would have needed if Star Wars was operating in a proper way. If everything else was taken care of, then Andor would have been incredibly successful. Probably, I'm not saying it would have broke records, you know what I mean? Because it had its audience for sure. But the fact that Star Wars was so damaged during the time when it released, and that's a testament to everything else they've done, that so many people that would have probably been interested in Andor didn't watch it. I've heard a lot of people claim, again, I only watched the first 3 episodes, which I thought were pretty good, but it was about the overall, like, just looking at Star Wars in general. I'm like, fuck this. Like, I wasn't watching any of this stuff. The only reason I watched the Acolytes so I could grift off of it, because fuck Disney Star Wars.
Andor is a slow burn, but it also is my biggest problem with it is I just don't really care about Cassian Andor as a character.
Yes.
And Andor, the show, didn't really change that for me too much. There's a lot of things that go on within it that I think are well done in terms of like kind of getting this viewpoint of the everyday life of the average citizen that's under the boot of the fucking empire. And then also on the flip side, the kind of the everyday experience of what's going on for imperial workers and drones, or people even that are in high levels of government, stuff like that. I thought a lot of that was actually very interesting. But the thing to me that I just don't care about as much is the main character, and that's a problem for me.
Yeah, that's a big problem. So yeah, moving forward, I mean, just it's funny, and I'm sure we're never gonna hear like the end of them crying about Acolyte, with how much they wish that they could. They may try to speak it back into existence or something like that. It's never going to happen. Nobody cares. And this is what happens when you make a product that no one gives a damn about. Leslie Headland essentially decided to make a passion project for her own identity politics bullshit by using the Star Wars IP as a mask for it. And that's why, for one of the many reasons why it failed, and it was never going to be successful. So good job on this disaster, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant. You deserve it.
You love to see it.